what is the biggest challenge in your life that you have endured?
Good question, because I often don't look at things that way. So I really have to dig deep and think about it. There's definitely been obstacles in life, but I try to look at them more as growth opportunities. So
Right.
I would say biggest challenge we had. So my husband and I, like I mentioned, we were in business together for about over a decade. We ran another adventurous thing, a store for cheerleaders. It was called Cheer Factory.
Uh-huh.
My daughter was a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader in high school, and my daughter grew up to be a cheerleader. So she cheered from middle school on into high school, competition wise and school wise. And we started a store because this was before the big age of the internet where you could just go on and order something and it'd be on your doorstep. So there was no place for cheerleaders to buy their items. There were catalogs, but like you can look in a catalog and you don't know if the shoe's going to fit you, because you can't try it on, or is the skirt going to fit you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we opened a store in a mall to satisfy that void where there weren't any outlets for a cheerleader to go in, like, a football player could go in to Dick's Sporting Good and buy what he needed or get fit. There was nothing like that for cheerleaders. So
Okay.
we opened that business. So I would say that was probably one of the most challenging things that I've ever done because I mean, that idea, we started that from scratch. It was just our ideas. It was a very successful business. And we, like I said, ran it. We went even from retail into wholesale manufacturing from that business. So I learned a lot. I mean, there were just lots of challenges. I remember the minimum wage increased during that time,
Oh, yeah.
which,
Mhm.
for a business owner, that's a big deal, that
Sure.
changes your payout, having a staff of employees all the time
Yeah.
and especially at mall hours, working like 362 days a year and having a staff of people,
Yeah.
for 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. each day. So
Yeah.
that was probably my most challenging
Sure.
uh, venture, which
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. We both learned a lot about business.
Mm.
There's so much that I gained from that business that,
Uh-huh.
helps me, what kind of gives me a leg up in what I do today.
Yeah.
And I learned I don't want to do that again. I don't.
So I would like to ask your advice. Like, if you were to pick like three lessons from there to tell people that's just starting up, like if you like tell your younger self at that time, I know you
Right.
would probably not regret anything because you learn from it. But
Right.
what was the pointers? Like, what is the three things you feel like, don't do this or do that? What were the three things?
Absolutely. The first one I can think of is take advantage of the era that we're in, meaning that there is so much that you can do. You and I work in the online space,
Mhm.
which makes us so compatible in like our friendship and in collaborating and talking because we understand kind of we're in this online, this separate kind of world in itself.
Yep.
But I would say take advantage of that. There's never been a time where you could have $1 million business from your smartphone. And
Mm.
so we're in a world where that is happening right now. So utilize that. I kind of adopted the phrase of I want to make sure that I'm making a business with my mind and not my hands because
Okay.
in that business where I said we went into manufacturing and wholesale,
Yeah.
there were, I was making hundreds, if not thousands of bows some weeks with my two hands. Like cheerleaders wear hair bows, so it's a whole separate thing. But that was a big core product for our
Yeah,
business,
yeah, yeah.
hair bows. And so my husband would be screen printing, like, up and down, like screen printing,
Yeah.
our shirts and our hoodies and our apparel. So there was a lot of labor involved in that business.
Yeah.
And it's something I don't want to do again because, if I were to say I'm going to go on vacation, in the back of my mind is, oh gosh, we just got to order for 1,000 hair bows. So I have to go home and get that, or how am I going to plan that out? And this customer wants them in a week, or so
Right.
that's just a lot. Whereas I can take this laptop that I'm on with you right now
Yeah.
and take it anywhere I want in the world
Mhm.
and still get my work done. So I like this new business model better, which is what I mean about taking advantage of the time and the era that we're
I see.
currently in.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So when people ask, I think, um, and not to say anyone can't start a brick and mortar business, it's just not
Right.
anything I want to ever do again.
Same here.
Um,
Same here. I always,
yeah.
even with the way you said, like, it's like you're totally permanent. There's so much overhead about that, and then there's less flexibility and freedom, yeah, to create. I think this
Right.
we both are creative, so I think it's important to place our, we can still work, but at the same time, like go to inspiring places.
Exactly. I think efficiency is very important. That's probably my biggest thing. The other is, I think, actually, the unfortunate circumstance of COVID taught us a lot of things.
Mm.
Whereas contractors are, I think you and I have probably used contractors probably prior to COVID, whereas I think
Yes.
it's a mainstream thing now where that's businesses have identified that people who weren't in the online space maybe prior to COVID have now understand that contractors are super a resourceful way to get help and support and run your business. So I've had some great contractors who have become team members that I've worked with for years, some for almost a decade, and that have been very valuable to my business. And it's very different and it's just a blessing to be able to bring people on. Sometimes when some people I have on my team that are kind of they're always there working on my brands, but then other people that I can just, source in when a project needs them and then come out when we're not working on that project. And so that's such a different experience than having, someone on constant payroll and, in a where I had the brick and mortar store. So that's a big advantage to be able to source very specific talent
Yeah.
for a very specific project in your business, and that there's no long-term commitment. It's just a commitment to get that project, launched, and then you can call them back in if need be for the next thing. So
Right.
I would say take advantage of those resources. There's a book that sits on my desk. It's Who Not How, and I love that model of who can you source to do these things. You don't have to know how to do all those things, but someone else does. There's someone talented, where you can stay in your zone of genius and do what it is that's important to you. For me, that's writing.
Uh,
And because I can be very creative with writing, I've gone from blog to book, and back to back in that aspect. So I know that's where my zone of genius is, that I can turn content into cash, into something
yeah.
powerful.
Uh-huh.
But other things, I can source someone else to do that. I don't need to be trying to figure out how to design the back end of my website, or even sometimes, posting on social media. There are people who are smarter than than me, and that can give me the blueprint for that. So it's a lot of I think it still is a lot of community and using resources wisely,
Yeah.
and using all the tools that are available to us now. When we started our business, we had this big bulky cash register system that cost us probably at least $3,000, and now you can get a Square reader. So it's just um, right, a tiny little thing that you put in
Thank
your
goodness.
purse, yeah, and take somewhere and run a whole retail system. So
Yeah.
it's just really taking advantage. That would be, I guess, my third tip, is taking advantage of technology
Yeah.
and using those resources that can save you so much money and time and make your business very efficient and also mobile,
Yeah.
which
Hmm.
is different than that brick and mortar model that I had, 15 years ago or so.
So great. So great. Sounds like a lot of leveraging of what's available.
Yes,
Yeah.
great way
Awesome.
to put it. Yeah,
Yeah, you're
absolutely.
very good at that and amazing. Amazing. So what's the next number you're gonna choose?
Let's what up? Let's go with number one. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What is your favorite childhood? This is one of my favorite questions. What is your favorite childhood memories? Paint us the picture. If you have
Ooh.
more than one, it's okay. But what is the first thing came to my mind when I said that? Child
Oh,
memory. Like, what is that moment? Who were there? How are you feeling?
I have so many. Yeah, let me think. How to narrow it down. Was it a
I'm
favorite
glad you have
color,
so many.
favorite gift? Ah, that's a good one.
Could be birthday. It could be just a simple thing. Like could be a winning something, or could be like a piece of cake. It doesn't matter, whatever. But
Right.
mhm.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Be like cooking somewhere with somebody. It could be reading a book. It could be just traveling. Or sometimes it's not, maybe not just one event. It could be just like serious event, for example, like uh playing in the neighborhood. Like a consistent thing. So
Right.
it could be a tradition of some sort. So
Yeah, I think that was always my favorite thing, was just being outside and playing and being free. Something very different than I think kids do
nowadays, yeah,
today.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
know what
yeah,
you mean
that was
exactly. Hmm.
right. And I remember, can't say it's a favorite childhood memory, but I mean, they're all just good. And when I think of childhood, they're just good memories. But one of the really good ones, I remember I went to private school until third grade. And it's kind of funny because my vantage point was just different, that I was so excited to go to public school
Oh,
because they had clubs. Like they had,
Have
like
what?
SCA, they had clubs that you could join,
Ups.
like SCA and just
Uh,
different clubs in the art club or whatever. And I went to a private Christian school, and so it was my classrooms would be like 8 people in the class, and we didn't have clubs. We only had music and Bible, and so there weren't. Even though I had a good time there, but I think I was so excited for that experience
uh,
I think I am a people person and an
uh,
extrovert, and so I just like being in community and being with like-minded people.
uh,
I'm very particular about the people in my circle, but once I find that tribe of people, I really um, we do a lot together.
uh,
So I was super excited to leave private school,
uh,
even though I liked it, but I was excited for the new adventure of public school,
awesome.
where
So
they
you got to go to public school
actually
after all.
yeah, like it's kind of odd because most people don't say that, but it was just my vantage point was just very different.
Yeah, yeah.
And the exciting part for me was all of the different niche clubs and activities
Mhm.
that were going to be available to me when when I got to that
So
school.
when you got there, did it fulfill your dream about joining clubs? What did
Good
you do
question.
when you get there?
Yeah, so I did. I
Class.
think the first year I ran for office in SEA. So
Oh,
I think I did SCA secretary and one time vice president also. And yeah, anything that was I was always in Black Culture Club.
uh,
So anything that I could that was of interest to me that I could be a part of, then I became a cheerleader. So
uh,
I was on the step team. So I've always I like being involved and I
yeah,
like
yeah.
being in groups creating movement. So that was just a fun aspect. Whereas probably a lot of people are like, I wish I could go to private school and have that education. It wasn't the education so much for me, it was the experiences, which I still value experiences over everything. And so early on, my mindset was still the same. Like I didn't call them experiences then. I just knew they had clubs. That's what I called it. And I wanted to be in clubs because we
The
didn't have
culture
the
sounds like you're really attracted to the culture and the people, and
right.
it's colorful, the colorful
Yeah,
community. Yeah, yeah,
exactly. So those experiences meant a lot to me, and I definitely did take advantage of them when I got there. So all the way through the years.
yeah. And I'm not sure if you know, like, so this question is actually very telling. Whether you're living the life that your path, you're aligned definitely
All
because
right.
doing right now. So if you think about it, like that's like a pattern, right? Like you love the community, the culture, and all the like the dynamics in there, and you're creating that now with everything you do. Like you just follow like the rabbit hole almost, like wherever you go. I like that, I'm doing that. I'm like that, I'm doing that. So this is the way you move through
It
life.
is very good observation. I think I definitely move in that space, and what I try to do is things that I like. That's where I try to set. I guess I try to monetize that aspect of it.
Yeah.
So because I think we're the best at things that we do that we enjoy. We are working in our best capacity when we're doing things that we enjoy. So I feel like there's never been a time where you can kind of really turn passion into profits without necessarily
Mhm.
without laboring yourself tremendously to do it.
You
So
go.
in this,
That's the golden nugget
yeah,
right there. Right there.
right. Yeah. In this internet age, we can take that passion and just with some creative thinking, find a way to make it profitable,
Yeah.
while still serving other people and helping other people, but doing what you really love to do. For me, as much as I love being out, like I have a community meeting this evening, like that's a big part of my life, just being involved. But as much as I love that, I still know that my best work allows me to be creative, but it's really quietly sitting in front of my computer and writing. Like that's when I'm at my best, but I'm able to no inhibitions of time or, outside things. I can take all the things that I like and share them into stories, whether that's a cultural story about soul food and a particular recipe or an adventure that I took in Las Vegas that I want someone else to know about so that when they come here, they can share in that same experience. But
Right.
it's like taking all those collections of lifetime experience and adventures, which I'm still loving how you said that, but
Mhm.
those adventures and then turning them into content and
Mhm.
then making that content monetizable, whether that's via, a blog article and, there's advertisers paying to be on the blog because the amount of traffic that comes to it, or whether that's, into a published legacy book,
Yeah.
that will always exist. So that's my big goal is, again, the business with the mind. So taking those experiences and making them fun and accessible for people, but also earning a living by doing that.
Mhm. I love that. You actually answered some of my question as you were explaining more about the monetization, because I think like people struggle about like they don't even allow themselves to pursue their passion. They think about what's the profit behind, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like this is what's common between you and me. Like we have similarity of like we follow the passion first. Profit is the
Right.
product. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Yes.
like the words that came to mind is like abundance versus scarcity. You know what I mean? Like when you're
Yes.
abundantly, like in your passion and doing it, it attract your community and create a movement, and that's where the profit is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the steps, even though
100%.
you don't think about it that way, but that's what I'm seeing.
Right.
You know?
Oh, absolutely. We definitely think we're aligned in that thinking. Where for a lot of people, I think it's the other way, where it's like, how can I make the money, and then I'll get to the passion. I
Correct.
feel like you have one life, and I want it full of passion. So, we only get one.
Mm,
So I, like you, I'm looking at it the other way. I think that the money is a byproduct of the good work. And we work at our best when we're able to do something that we're really zoned in on and are very passionate about and could talk to you about it in our sleep. And that's how I feel about Las Vegas. So for me, it was a gift for me to be able to tell stories, to write, to put into a book that, can be given to so many people about what all the amazing things there are to do in this city. Because I've even ran into people at the airport. I was holding a box of books because I was going home to Virginia from
yeah.
Vegas. I still live in Virginia also. So I was going back home to Virginia,
Right,
and I
right.
had a box of books for my book signing there.
Yeah.
And gentleman, my box dropped, and there was a couple in front of me, and the husband went to pick it up to help me. He was like, "What in the world is in here? It's heavy." I was like, "They're books, but I'm checking them." And so, long story later, yeah, it's like, "What do you have here?" But in line, they told me what a lot of people say, like, "We're here. This is like our fourth time coming, and we were just having this conversation, like, what do we do next after you've seen the strip?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's what this book is about." There's a
Yeah.
ton of other things to do.
Oh
So
my gosh.
they were so thankful, that to have run it. So they were like, "We're ordering the book now." But that's it. It's for me, it's like being able to share that, oh my gosh, you haven't even seen the half of Las Vegas and all the things that we have here. But I'm so passionate about that. I love when people come in town, and if I, so that I can show them around and take them to places that are just going to like surprise them that this exists in Las Vegas. So it was, again, my honor to be able to share those stories for people. But at the same time, that's part of my business. It's like
Yeah.
I still pinch myself, like, I really get to do this. Like,
Yeah, for a living. Yeah,
you know,
for sure, for
but I
sure.
think the money is a byproduct 100%. And I love how you broke that down, that
Mhm.
we chase the passion first,
Yeah,
and our creative mind can see that, okay, if I do this, how can I make that where I could actually earn a living off of that, and we pursue it that way. I
yeah,
think I always feel like the money will come. Um,
yes,
just keep going, keep
yeah.
going.
Keep going. Exactly, exactly. And you just I think like just play. Just play with your passion, and bring people along. Bring people along. Right.
Bring people along. Right, right. And my husband and I, we got this from Les Brown. We didn't make it up, but only quality people. And so I am very particular about the people, like I said, in my
Mhm.
inner circle, because I think that's important also, that
For
you want
sure.
people surrounding you that are only quality people, that,
Supportive. Yeah.
yeah,
Inspire.
supportive, where you can add value to them, they can add value to you. You guys can, it's a harmonious relationship where you vibe and, and work off of each other. So I think that is very important. And with that kind of mindset, like you mentioned, the non-scarcity mindset, and being free to open up your hands
Yeah.
to explore new and see more, I
Yeah.
think you just invite those type of people and experiences into your
Right.
world.
Right. I think the relationship you mentioned about, I don't know if you're familiar with Selena's new book. This is where we met, Selena Sue.
Relationships,
Remember,
yes.
yeah, which relationship? That's what you're describing, because that was like you, you're not like excluding people, but you're like being like mindful about who is aligned with you and who's
Right.
aligned with your vision. Like where are we going together, right? So. a lot of time I think some of us are a little bit too slow in making decision of that, right? Been there.
That was, you said that so eloquently. Yes.
I tried.
Sometimes
I
people
did
can
my
be
best.
slow and yeah, letting
I know.
some relationships go.
Yeah.
But that would be just a I guess a wonderful gift, or not even a gift, but just a wisdom,
Wisdom.
just, maturing in that wisdom.
Right.
And I don't take that lightly. I'm very mindful of who gets to be in the space.